So, this is kinda lame, right? Linear progression is a term I'm going to use in this video that I define as any moment in a game where the player picks up a new piece of equipment purely for statistical benefit. Its number go up at the expense of everything else. It doesn't matter that your favorite sword has a moveset that you like, nor that it has bonus attack speed, or, maybe it fits the build that you're going for. That weapon you just picked up does more damage and increases your gear score, and unfortunately, that means it's more valuable. This is stupid, and I don't like it. To give you just a vague example in case you're not quite following along, say maybe early on in your adventure through whatever game you're playing, you pick up a cool runic steel sword. You like how it looks, it fits your Celtic armor that your character is already wearing, and the moveset is good. Too bad it's going to be rendered obsolete by the literal sword made of Lego bricks that does, 25% more damage to biblically accurate angels or something. The bottom line is, it just does more damage. And unfortunately, in many games, this is what you have to prioritize. Now, I understand that me even making this video is possibly the most first world problems that video games could ever have in their entire existence. But if you know anything about my more game design focused discussions, then you might happen to recall that I quite like it whenever a game makes me care about a weapon that I'm using, allowing that weapon to have some genuine staying power, and in its own way allowing it to have its own personality. Make no mistake, this video is not just going to be me complaining for 20 minutes or however long this video ends up being. While I am bitching and moaning now, it's also kind of my video, so I'm just going to bitch and moan anyway. On that note, what I really want to focus on in this video is games that don't have linear progression. As it turns out, there's kind of a ton of ways that a game can make me care about a weapon that I'm using. I should also probably mention that linear progression is sort of a necessary evil in some cases. Like I said before in the crafting video and the static versus procedural loot video, focusing really hard on individual aspects of weaponry is obviously a pretty big time sink for the people developing the game. And that's not even to say that I dislike the system by and large, I just don't prefer it really. But I get why it's there. On the one hand, if you have a couple of talented artists on your dev team, then linear progression can be sort of the path of least resistance to make progression feel good. Each individual weapon is more shallow in terms of its complexity, but there are more of them and therefore more options. It also makes for an easy excuse to gate that progression, making it to where some weapons can only be used at certain levels. And when it comes down to it, these are all totally fair reasons, but I'm just gonna say, if you put some extra effort in the weapons in the game that you're making, you're gonna get some brownie points from me, as well as many other players all the same. I'll also mention that we're only going to be talking about weapons mostly in this video, and that's primarily because I caught my FBI guy slipping, and need to be put on a watch list again, I guess. No, actually, in truth, it's just because weapons are kind of the most standout part of any equipment you can get in any game, so long as combat is a focus. And I don't think I'm alone in saying that whenever I pick up a new sword in a game, I get a little bit of neuron activation. Speaking of which... Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is like bafflingly good, which I know, coldest take of the past 6 months. Let it be known, if I use a game as an example of linear progression, I'm not necessarily throwing any ill will to the game itself. But Expedition 33 is just something else. About 30 minutes into my gameplay, the prologue itself almost made me cry, so... ah shit, guess I'm a fan of this game now. But to not derail the conversation too much, let's talk weapons in Expedition 33. Well, for starters, they're great. Each individual weapon has a scaling associated with 1 to 2 stats. You can also freely build any one of your party members to focus on any stat. Say for instance Gustav, your sort of main starting character that you play as, you decide to build as a tank, and you suddenly find a sword that allows for building into both vitality and defense. Couple this with weapons having unlockable passives based on the character and not the weapon, and you have yourself a recipe for a JRPG that just sorta was made for me, and everybody else as it turns out. I'm gonna choose to call this open progression. You have the ability to pick equipment freely based on your individual player needs, instead of the game more or less forcing you to pick something because it does more damage or something. I could talk about other aspects that makes Expedition 33 cool as well, such as the Picto system, which simultaneously works as armor, and the Paper Mario game's badge point system. As a bit of a side tangent as well, I'm a big fan of RPGs not necessarily fitting your player characters or the rest of your party into one mold either, sort of taking a Xenoblade approach where you have characters that are good at some things, but ultimately what you decide to spec them into is up to you. And in my opinion, it's an aspect of this game's design that's, in a way, sort of enabled by the weapon system, and really, the wider equipment system as a whole. I wish there was more I could say on Expedition 33 because I happen to quite like it so far. But as it currently stands, I haven't beaten the game yet, so please nobody spoil it or anything. Instead, let me move on to a personal favorite of mine.
Close your eyes, come to me, feel alright, just don't spill me over the light, turn it out.
Lies of P is a game that continues to surprise me even during my playthrough of the DLC. And honestly, that's because the game's weapon assembly system is still nowhere to be advertised on the Steam page or really anywhere else. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then allow me to run it by you real quick. You collect a good number of weapons in Lies of P. Shocker, right? Each weapon is widely grouped into what moveset it can use, as well as giving you 2 unique skills that's not unlike the Ash of War system in Elden Ring. What specifically sets this game apart for me in terms of other Souls-likes like it, is the ability to disassemble most weapons in the game, breaking it down into a head and handle of that weapon. You can take these weapon parts to a bonfire, assemble them into a completely unique weapon, allowing you to change its functionality by way of changing the moveset, giving it different scalings, changing out those previously mentioned Ashes of War, as well as just changing how it looks aesthetically. And you can make some real Frankenstein's monsters here. But this allows for each moment where you find a new weapon in Lies of P to be so much more exciting. Because even if you find a weapon that you're not going to use regardless of what parts you find in it, there's nothing stopping you from experimenting and just making something that looks silly. Said silly combination might be the exact thing you're looking for in terms of what build you're going for anyway. This specific combination of Lorenzini driver head and booster glaive handle was apparently so powerful that it caused my game to crash. Man, I really need to get some new RAM sticks in my computer. Corsair, why are you such a joke? I don't get it. Games like Lies of P get my wannabe engineer brain going with just the amount of combinations you can make. Big wrench mining drill might be incredibly stupid, but nothing's telling you that you can't make it, or that it's even ineffective. So if you can, use it. The world, and by extension this game, is kind of your oyster, so why not? Open progression in games like Lies of P ask, or really beg the player to customize, experiment, and find what works. You could say that it's just an example of good build crafting, and that's fair. I would absolutely say that open progression and build crafting are pretty related. But it doesn't always have to be about the numbers. Sometimes it could just be how something feels. So, for our last example, let's take a look at some ranged equipment in a video game. Possibly something survival horror related?
Maybe you better go and take a look. Oh, what's the car? Wouldn't want to get a parking ticket. So much for helping me.
I happen to quite like the Resident Evil series. The original version of Resident Evil 4, which came out during 2004, is easily my most played game in this entire series. Something Something remake is good, but doesn't replace the original Something Something. Look, you get the point. Resident Evil 4 has a lot of guns. Not only that, but there are several guns that belong to the same classification of weapon. There are several types of pistols. Notably, the Blacktail is one of the fastest firing handguns in the game, but if you're looking for raw damage, then you use the Red 9. You're likely going to pick up at least one of every type of weapon in Resident Evil 4. For me, the weapons are categorized largely by what ammo they use, but the firearm you end up sticking with is single-handedly determined by which one you like the most. Maybe you're a little bit bothered by the shotgun's base reload speed. Obviously, you can put upgrades in it to fix this problem, or you could just pick the riot gun, or the striker. Do you prefer the bolt-action rifle because it does more damage? Or would you instead want to use the Stingray rifle because it's semi-automatic?
No, no, no! Wait!
And truthfully, I could go on and on about how cool all of these weapons are, and similarly how cool it is that you can pick any one of them and end up sticking with it. Yes, including even the starting handgun. But the real highlight of this section is a mechanic so good that I genuinely wanted to show up in more Resident Evil games, and all of them if it were up to me. The exclusive upgrade system in Resident Evil 4 is one of the single best mechanics in all of the Resident Evil series. That is a hill I'm willing to die on. When you axe out any, and I do mean any regular weapon in the game, you can choose to upgrade one more little aspect about the weapon. Its exclusive upgrade. What this exclusive upgrade does will vary based on the weapon itself. It can be things like shot speed or reload speed, a capacity upgrade, a damage upgrade, and this lone mechanic is single-handedly responsible for taking all the aspects of the weapon of your choice and turning it up to 11. Often, the exclusive upgrade will be something the weapon's already pretty good at. The Striker is the highest capacity shotgun in all of Resident Evil 4, which is already pretty worth considering. But the exclusive upgrade makes it to where it can hold 100 shells. During a standard difficulty playthrough of the game, when you obtain this weapon and get this upgrade, you'll very likely never need to reload this thing ever again. New to the remake of Resident Evil 4 is the ability to upgrade the knives. You can obtain 3 upgradable knives throughout the entirety of your playthrough. And the exclusive upgrade for the starting knife is giving it a ridiculous attack speed increase. This version of Resident Evil 4 also boasts an early unlock for the exclusive abilities. So if you knew you were going to get the exclusive upgrade anyway, then why not just get it early and make it easier for you? It certainly saves on the money to upgrade the weapon in the first place, so I mean hey, why not? It's systems like the exclusive upgrades that allow you to get personally attached to the weapon that you're using. You might have a favorite firearm in all of Resident Evil. Odds are it's probably in Resident Evil 4. But why is it your favorite? Is it because of the damage? Is it because of the ammo capacity? Is it because of the shot speed? Is it none of those things, or is it any combination of those things? I love the exclusive upgrade system. I love the systems from all these games shown off in this video. And hopefully, through watching this thing to the end, maybe now you can understand why I love open progression all the same. And yeah, I guess that's all I got for today. So as always, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have a specific example of open progression that I didn't necessarily talk about, you can go ahead and bring it to the comments or the Discord, and while you're down there, why not like, subscribe, and ring the bell? If you feel so inclined, you can also join the Patreon, starting at $1 a month. I'd like to extend a very special thank you to the members of that Patreon, Stefan and Ari. If you would like to get early releases to videos before I drop them on Friday, sneak peeks to videos before they show up on YouTube, and or giving me the ability to shout your name out at the end of these videos, then as always, joining starts at $1 a month. And with that, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. As always, thank you for watching, and have a good day, everybody.